3 presidential debates and 1 vice presidential debate have mercifully passed. And I don't know if anyone here in this congregation or anywhere was at all persuaded one way or another. The only possible exception I can think of might be Big Bird, who, if he was undecided, will probably favor the candidate who will not make him extinct. Within a month's time, we have weathered the storm of several debates around central issues that matter deeply to us. It was not always pleasant, even when the debater was listening silently to his challenger. One candidate offered such a beatific smile that even heavenly angels would have been offended by such insincerity. Angels, by the way, are able to fly only because they take themselves lightly. And the other candidate, we need to be bipartisan, the other candidate would flash the look while the other was speaking, a gaze so intense it could melt concrete. But it's all over now, and a final decision will be rendered by the nation in 10 days' time. Now, I refer to the debates this morning because Christianity has been embroiled in both formal and informal debate for 2,000 years. Contrary to the popular notion that Christianity flourished the day following Christ's crucifixion, fact checkers accurately point out that there was not a hint of unity regarding Christian ideas about who Jesus was and what his ministry meant. Even after more than 300 years following his death, there was no existing creed or even a central idea about Jesus' divinity. In fact, there were different sects that divided Christianity. And one early church father named Tertullian candidly regarded Jesus merely as a common man and did so in the year 150. And then a century later, Origen rejected what he considered the ridiculous prospects about hell. His one rhetorical gem was always, let's discuss the humanity of Jesus. Constantine the Great felt schizophrenic about these contradictory ideas where Jesus was literally the Son of God on the one hand, or simply a good guy on the other hand. In an effort to unite the Roman Empire with one overarching belief about Jesus, he called the bishops together at a council in Nicaea in the year 323 and demanded a debate to settle the issue. The debate raged on for 2 years. Boy, I thought a month was enough. 2 years of debate. The primary issue was whether or not Jesus was born in the usual biological process. If so, then he would be just considered a common man. If, on the other hand, it was believed that he was, and the term they used back then, if he was the very God of the very God, that is, made of one substance with the divine, then he would indeed need to be worshipped as the Son of God. So after what we've been through during these recent presidential debates, frankly, I cannot imagine a debate lasting 2 years. Bishop Arius represented the progressive thinkers, and Bishop Athanasius represented what would have been back then the equivalent to the Tea Party. After no clear winner emerged, I think a rather frustrated Constantine stepped in to call a halt and unilaterally declared Athanasius the winner in the year 325. So chalk one up for the conservatives. But the issues were never really resolved among the people in their respective churches. So it wasn't until the year 381 in Constantinople that the concept of the Trinity was imposed on everyone throughout the empire. One held contrary views about Jesus under penalty of death. Apostates and heretics were not treated kindly. So it was enough of this, frustration about deciding one way about Jesus or the other. The Trinity was just stamped with a seal of approval, and you had to believe it. But the issue, which kept on going kind of on a subterranean level, the issue remains far from settled even today. Unitarians essentially differ not at all from Tertullian's argument in the year 150, and that is Jesus was a good man worthy of our highest esteem. And the Universalists have taken up where Origen left off in the year 250, which insisted that hell was simply a preposterous idea. So just think about this. Trinitarianism was adopted in the year, or it was adopted 350 years following the death of Jesus. So we need to understand that Unitarianism, as a religious idea, has been around for a very long time. Now, to sort out developments here in the States, let's begin with the Church of the Puritan colonies in New England. There was a special relationship between church and state called the Standing Order, whereby local towns were taxed to provide support of public worship, including not only maintenance of church buildings, but the towns paid the salaries of the clergy. This was all justified with the notion that churches established the moral tone of the community whereby everyone would benefit. Unitarians were part of the Standing Order in Massachusetts until 1830, when the Standing Order was dissolved. And Unitarians enjoyed all the privileges of the Standing Order that were afforded. Unitarian ministers were paid by the state. I like to imagine what that experience might be like right here in Utah. It's just, what a concept. William Ellery Channing, who in 1819 inspired Unitarians to form their own denomination, that denomination officially taking root in Boston in 1825. Channing was a chief spokesman for defending the Standing Order. The Universalists, incidentally, were outside the Standing Order and petitioned every year for an exemption so their congregants need not be taxed to support those Unitarians and other churches that were in the Standing Order. Their request was denied as routinely as the Utah legislature denying marriage equality. Not a chance. But the Baptists, for some reason, although outside the Standing Order, were granted an exemption in taxation. In the early 1800s, the Standing Order divided into two bodies. And this is very significant in that it ultimately led to the formation of the American Unitarian Association. The liberals during that era referred to themselves as rational Christians or simply as liberal Christians. The Unitarian designation was used solely by the conservatives as a smear against those liberals. They so abhorred liberalism that the worst name they can call them was Unitarian. I still feel that way sometimes today. The Unitarians were considered infidels, influenced by the new worldviews of Isaac Newton. And Newton himself, of course, was a British Unitarian. The conservatives kept driving a wedge between themselves and liberals, claiming that Unitarians smacked of natural religion, which espoused the wonders of nature and the scientific understanding of the universe. But the conservatives were spot on about one thing. They accused the Unitarians of lacking faith in a revealed religion. By associating Unitarians with the science of Newton and the philosophy of John Locke, who claimed reason to be a prime faculty in ascertaining knowledge, the conservatives drew a line in the sand when it came to moral behavior. Morality, they claimed, didn't have a leg to stand on unless it stemmed from the revelation of God's will found in Scripture.